Praise God. We're just going to go through a visual of Daniel's 70th week real quick. Just kind of a real quick synopsis here. I'm going to do a more detailed study on this, but I want to get kind of a close-up view here on Daniel's 70th week, prophecy here. So, Daniel's 70th week. This is not the tribulation. This is Daniel's 70th week. A lot of people say 7 years tribulation, 7 years tribulation, 7 years tribulation. Yeah, it's going to be 7 years tribulation. They're just repeating each other. It's Daniel's 70th week. Okay, this is based on the 70-week prophecy, Daniel 9:24 through 27. If you want to research it, go ahead. There's 1 7-year period remaining to finish, to make an end to sin, to finish transgression, and to bring in everlasting righteousness. There's 1 more week. That's the 70-year, Daniel's 70th week. It's not the 7 years tribulation. Okay, you have the middle of that, which is 3.5 years in, and another 3.5 years to the end. So it's two 1,260-day time periods, which make up Daniel's 70th week. Okay, exactly 7 years. Now, Jesus in Matthew chapter 24, okay, if you read Matthew chapter 24, Jesus describes many signs that lead up to his coming. These signs are represented by the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth seals. 6 seals. We're not going to talk about 7 yet, because 7 ushers in the trumpet judgments later. Okay, so the 6 seals are described in Matthew chapter 24. What are the 6 seals? The first seal is the rise of antichrists, plural. Antichrists, plural. Okay, it didn't say rise of Antichrist. Jesus said there's going to be many false Christs, plural, which are going to deceive many. Many will come in my name, saying, I am Christ. He didn't say one. He said many will come in my name, saying, I am Christ. So the first seal is rise of false prophets and false Christs that are going to deceive many. Okay? The second is war. Now, this is not just war like on an everyday basis like we have now. This is some type of world conflict. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. It says there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. That's the red horse. So you have the first seal, it's the white horse. The second seal is going to be the red horse. Okay? The third seal, what is the result of this massive world conflict? You're going to have famine. Okay? Why is there going to be famine? And why is it famine? Because this horse has a pair of balances in his hand, and he says a measure of penny for a penny and 2 measures of barley for a penny. See you hurt not the oil and wine, meaning there's going to be a great food shortage. Okay, the oil and wine are going to sustain them. That's why it says, "Do not hurt the oil and wine." Much of the wheat, much of the barley, these things are going to burn. There's going to be, devastation. Look what happened when Ukraine was invaded. The wheat prices, what happened to wheat prices? They shot through the roof. Why? Because Ukraine is one of the largest producers of wheat in the world. So when you have countries that are high producers of these crops and this agriculture go to war, the food prices shoot up. There's going to be famine. What's the fourth seal? Fourth seal is death. What's a result of great war? What's the result of great famine? It says death and pestilences. Okay, this is the pale green horse. The pale green horse, which is death. That's what the pale means, pale green. Okay, so you have the white horse, which is the rise of Antichrist. Red, you have the world conflicts. And if you go through Matthew 24, it lines up perfectly. Everything is in absolute order. Everything that Jesus describes here, 100% in order. Okay? All the verses, he talks about all these different things. Then, as a result of, you have the death here, the death horse. It also says that children are going to rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. There's going to be betrayal. Okay? Father against son, son against father. Mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. A man's enemies are going to be the members of his own home. They're going to betray one another, and they're going to kill one another. That's what Jesus said. Matthew chapter 24. Read it. It all lines up with Revelation 6. So this is currently Revelation 6, which is the seals. And you have Matthew 24. So Revelation 6 and Matthew 24, they're both lining up perfectly. It says people are going to rise up against their parents, cause them to be put to death. Okay? So you have death, you have famine, you have wars, you have Antichrist. Now, we're getting towards the middle of the week here. This is the middle. This is 1,260 days. Okay? Now you have a very special event. Jesus says in this verse, Matthew chapter 24, he says, when you shall see the abomination of desolation. I'm going to call it AOD, just for short. Abomination of desolation, spoken by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Let him that readeth, let him understand. Okay? What happens? Now this Antichrist, who we see over here, probably a specific man who's been ruling through this time or rising to power, is no longer just rising to power as a political figure. Now this political figure declares himself to be God, according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Okay? This man sitteth in the temple of God, declaring himself to be God. Okay, so now this political figure is no longer just simply some political figure. He's declaring himself to be God. Okay? It also says he's going to cause all those small and great, bond and free, to take a mark in their right hand or their forehead, that if you do not take the mark, you will not be able to buy or sell. Now, this mark is not just about commerce. Okay? It's about allegiance. Okay? It's about worship. Okay? It's about worshiping him as God. Because